your opinion, on a scale from 0 to 100%, what is the probability that God really exists? I'll give you my answer right off the bat. If we use only the numbers 0 to 100, I'll put it at 1%. If I'm allowed to use other numbers, I would say it's somewhere between 0 and 1%. It's not 0, but some other number. But I'd like for you to address that question.
Okay, I think we'll start. We'll come to your question. Before that, what I mean that if your argument that you cannot know, it's not possible for you to know the existence of God. That actually contradicts with your very argument that you had before. In one way, you're saying that actually God can make himself known through his works and through his words, and now you're saying that no, it is not possible to know God through his words and through his works. Now, you can say that I haven't seen the sign on his works and on his claimed word, but you have to acknowledge that he can be known by looking his works and his word, and if you can see unequivocal evidence, that the question is, what are those unequivocal evidence, and how you can be sure about those unequivocal evidence. But there's no doubt that once you see unequivocal evidence, meaning that once you see the sign, that you're sure those signs only refer to his existence, are the sign of his, are the mark of his work, then you can actually conclude that from this evidence that that God exists. My belief in this regard, that I see on every single thing. My question to you will be like, if you see, let's say, an inimitable signature, if you see a fingerprint type of thing that is unique to God on every single word, will that be sufficient evidence for you? Will that be unequivocal evidence to you? In my point, in my view, that indeed there are such signs, indeed that when you open your eyes and observe those signs, when you see them, you shall have absolutely no doubt that those works and those words are the works and the words of God. So, and when you reach this level of understanding by observing the signs, the signature, the seals, the stamps on everything from God, and I think you can bear witness with which I will say almost certainty, if you want to use this percentage, it will be almost 100% certainty that there is God. Yeah, for some reason, maybe you can speculate whether this is exactly 100%, whether this is between 99.999%. I don't care about that part, but it's almost 100%.
Okay. First, can't know is not the same as don't know. And I agree with you. I would not say that we can't know that God exists, because we did outline the categories of evidence that could possibly lead us to knowledge that God exists. I would say we don't know. You don't know. I don't know. In fact, no man who has ever lived life on earth has known that God exists. And therefore we would probably disagree about that. We both agree that you have not met God. You have already acknowledged that. So we could say that you don't have that type of knowledge. What you're claiming is that the other two classes of evidence that you're looking at are sufficient to support the idea that God exists beyond a reasonable doubt. You think that the evidence is sufficient to rationally conclude that God exists. Well, I think you're mistaken. And in future sessions, we'll probably, well, not probably, we're definitely going to get into that. But what I like today, and another thing, you've said a lot of things I like today, but the last thing you said that I liked was you used the term almost certainly. Almost 100%, you said. So if you're forced to use a number, a whole number, an integer between 0 to 100, I interpret your statement to mean that you would choose 99. Just like I chose 1, and you chose 99 at the opposite end of the scale. If you could have the use of other numbers between 99 and 100, you would choose something closer to 100. Nevertheless, we can now see that we are at opposite ends of the scale. That we, I think, God almost certainly does not exist. You think God almost certainly does exist. I would put a probability at 1% for that being true. You'd put a probability at 99% being true. So in future sessions, we're going to have to move on to how we justify our beliefs about this and our degrees of certainty about it. So at that point, I'll stop. If you want to make one final statement, you can, but I think it's time for us to end the conversation for today.
Yeah, just a brief statement. I think I will not be happy with almost certainty. I think so. What I mean by that, let me put it in an example. I believe, my belief in the existence of God, or the certainty in my belief in the existence of God, is as certain as my belief in the existence of the universe and in the existence of myself. And I will say even if it's more certain than this. So that's why, I don't, but still the question is how much you're certain about your own belief, whether your own existence, whether you can say 100% or not. There is a philosophical discussion on that one. That's why I say you can say 99.9, but I'm talking with the certainty, and I think that you need to be humble, and I value humble as well. And very first attribute I think that believers should have is humble, that I have on my list. But I think when you say that you know that no one knows God exists, that is not a humble statement. You might not know God exists, but you should be humble and accept that there are billions of people, and some of them might really know the existence of God. Since you accept that it is knowable, we can actually know from the evidence. That's all I want to say now. But I think in the future I will do everything, try to present an unequivocal evidences to you. Not 1, not 2, not 10, as many as you want. Okay, that's.
I'll make one final statement. If I said I knew that nobody knows that God exists, I'll amend that. I'll say, I believe with a high degree of probability that nobody knows that God exists. That will put me at a little more humble position than the other statement. Well, I enjoyed our conversation today, and perhaps in a week or two we'll get to meet for a third time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.